Is South Carolina Dynasty?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much of a dynasty now that they have created a culture in South Carolina high school basketball amongst girls where it's their dream to play for South Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, looking at my girl Dawn Staley, I mean, go Birds, right? Philadelphia born, Eagles fan. Got to throw that out there.
We got it. She roots for the Eagles. No. Dynasty is about winning. They've won twice, yes, and this year, if they win again, sure.
Are the Spurs a dynasty, Mike? Based on what you said in your qualifications, they would not be a dynasty.
No,
they
wouldn't.
won back to back.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to see that's all because the player count for them is if you think the Spurs are a dynasty, you think this team is a dynasty. Squad up, episode 156. Cinco Squad is back in the house. It's about time to crown a champion. On the men's side and the women's side, things are starting to heat up. Apparently, it's a tiger goat on John's hat that apparently is being crowned. What exactly is the meaning of this hat?
It's just it's from Waggle. That's a brand. It's basically just indicating the tiger stripes are a tiger and he's a goat. No, Mike.
Got you, Waggle. We need a sponsorship for that free advertising.
Hats for
Waggle. We appreciate the sponsorship for the free.
No, this is them being in the World Series.
And the Yankees, we also would expect a sponsorship for the free advertising. The Lakers, we also need a sponsorship for all the free advertising.
They need because they need it, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No one knows who the Yankees and Lakers are.
Nobody's ever heard of those people. But a lot of championships. Tiger Woods, a lot of championships. Lakers, a lot of championships. Yankees, a lot of championships. Let's get right to business, fellas. Florida versus Auburn. Who's coming out?
Auburn is injured right now. The way Florida comes out and dominates teams, they allow them to kind of get into their fold. They see what goes on with this Florida team. Like they sit there and they're like, okay, well we'll get down 10. We'll let them have a little bit of a little bit of hype, a little bit. Okay, they can pull off the upset, and all of a sudden Florida just wears on them, and then all of a sudden you're seeing them, come out and basically dominate the game at the end of the game. So the problem I see with Auburn is Johnny Broome is hurt, and he took a mean fall in that Elite Eight game. And honestly, I'm not sure how 100% he is. He's going to go, right? He's not going to sit out the Final Four of the national championship game. But is he going to be 100%? And he's the key to their offense. He's the pinnacle of their offense. He will be the one running the balls. And if he can't use his right arm because he is left-handed, it's going to be tough. But I'm taking the Gators. I mean, I know Tina won't like that because she's a Florida State fan. But we're going with the Gators in the national championship. Bring it back to 05.
All right, Mike, who you got?
Yeah, so if I agree, if you had asked me before the Elite Eight who would win that potential matchup, I would have said Auburn. But with the fact that Broome clearly, when he came back on the floor in that Elite Eight game, just wasn't using his right arm. I mean, we saw him immediately rebound a ball with just his left arm, which he's obviously strong enough to do. But the thing is, Florida has size. They have a lot of size they can rotate into the game and take advantage of the fact that he's essentially a player with one arm. And then when a big shot's needed, Clayton's ready to hit it for Florida. So I think this is going to be still a great game. But now I flipped and I'm going Florida.
Oh, my guess the entire time was going to be Florida over Auburn. I just didn't. Now it's even more eye-opening to me because of it being, Broome being hurt. But I honestly think Florida is way too deep as a team to manage Auburn. I don't know where you saw Auburn being better than them, but I see Florida all year being better than Auburn.
The experience is what really.
I picked Auburn all year because of the experience, and I'm still sticking with Auburn because of the experience. I just think Florida's had certain vulnerable looks throughout this tournament, so I do think there's still a shot that they lose, and I do trust Bruce Pearl with this type of time to plan, and that's the one thing once you get past that Sweet 16 Elite 8 round, you got some time to sit there and plan and try to come up with something else.
Yeah.
It's one thing when you lose somebody going from the Sweet 16 to Elite 8, you're like, okay, I got 2 days to figure this out. When I give you a week to figure this out and you get a coach of that caliber, I think you'll figure this out. Mike, on the other side, who's going to be playing? You have Florida, so who's going to be playing Florida? Is it going to be Duke or Houston?
Come on. It's going to be Houston. And I don't say that just because it's Duke, because I will give Duke, the flowers, especially Cooper Flagg, the flowers that they deserve. They've had a great season. They've had a great tournament. He is a phenomenal player and will undoubtedly be the number 1 pick should he choose, or whenever he chooses to go into the NBA draft, when he chooses, which should be this year. But it's starting to sound a little more like he's going to stay.
No, he's not fucking staying. He ain't fucking staying, bro.
I hope I think it would be stupid
in an
to,
interview. Just when
there is literally a negative
that he's not coming back. He would love him for to come back, but he's not coming back. There's 100. John Shire, his own coach, said there's 100% guarantee he's not coming back. 100%.
Well, it would probably be, even if he wanted to come back, it would probably be a Behi Melo situation. No, you're going to the league. So, I think it's going to
a little different, but yeah, a little different, but yes.
This Houston team is different than I think previous years' Houston teams, and we've said it before in the sense that, yes, it is a Ralph Sampson team that can play defense and, wear on you as Houston normally does, but this is one that can finally shoot. I know we say it every week when it comes to whoever Houston's playing, but this is one that can finally shoot. That's been the missing piece to them going to a national championship and being able to fully contend the way it's looked like they have in previous seasons. So I think Houston is finally going to be the one to take Duke down, and they'll meet Florida in the national championship game.
Go ahead, John. Seems like you disagree.
It's going to be Duke. Duke played well. One thing I always said about Duke is how they play without Cooper Flagg, and they proved me wrong. They are a great team without Cooper Flagg, and they won the ACC championship without him. What do you mean?
Yeah, they almost lost.
But they won the ACC
to a UNC team that got bounced out in the first round.
Still got to the NCAA tournament, right? Okay.
Yes,
but they're still this tournament team, right? Okay.
They would have been anyway.
What?
They would have been if they lost the ACC championship.
No, I'm saying UNC is still a tournament team, right? Okay. Anyways, they still won the ACC championship. Still dominated in that series. Still dominated the conference. Cooper Flagg is going to be the X factor in this game. I mean, he just does things that you're not. All the hype that's been there is there, right? His talent, his vision on the court, his speed, his being able to kind of move the ball from high to low, low to high real easily, and be able to dominate at not a big man height. I mean, what is he, 6'9", 6'10"?
He's 7 foot.
Oh, he's 7 foot? Oh, okay. I didn't know he was 7 foot because he didn't look like he was 7 foot next to the 7-footers I've been seeing this year. So he didn't look like it. So I just think he brings a different X factor, and I think this Houston team relies solely heavily on the 3-point ball. And if it's not going, it's going to be a long, long game. So no, I don't think Duke's going down. I think it's going to be a Duke-Florida matchup, which would actually be I think that's going to be a tougher matchup for Duke than it would be for Houston. Houston can't.
Well, with Duke coming into this, I'm going to stick with Duke. So I'm picking Duke to go ahead and take them out because of, and there's a lot of what John said. When we watched the ACC tournament, they found out ways to play without him, which I think helped everybody else grow because they didn't have to say, okay, Cooper's going to bail us out. So everybody grew in that time. So now when adversity comes, they can say, okay, we faced adversity. So it wasn't just some clean ride where they just beat everybody down. And in the first adversity, they're like, oh my God, we haven't faced adversity. So for me, I'm still going to ride with Duke. When it gets to the championship, I got Duke versus Auburn. That was my pick going to the tournament. I'm sticking with my guns. I had Duke to win the championship. Like I said, this is the year of Cooper Flagg. He's going to be number 1 pick in the draft. They're going to win a championship. He's going to get to cut down the nets. I know Mike's going to hate to watch it, but it is what it is. But look at this. It won't be an great white hope.
We'll give him a nice championship.
I won't watch them cut down the nets. I'll watch the end of the game, and then I'll go to bed.
No, you're going to watch cut down chances. John's going to lock you.
I'm going to hold you down.
I have watched enough losses and ending of championships I don't like that I'm not watching that one.
Don't worry, Trey. I will hold him down.
Okay.
And hold his eyelids open. And hold his eyelids open.
In this case, you don't think Duke's going anyway. So how do you see championship? You got
Auburn and
Florida.
Houston.
I got Florida and Houston.
You got Florida or Houston? Who you got as champ?
I mean, I think that would be a good game. I think they're pretty well matched as far as their ability to play defense with size and shoot. You know what? I got a funny feeling. Give me Houston. I feel like Houston like steals it. Like at the very, I think it may come down. We've talked about how this tournament really hasn't had a lot of like close endings or buzzer beaters.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just all building up to the national championship game, and we get a buzzer beater win from Houston or Florida. But I think it'll be Houston.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah, I mean, I got Florida and Duke in the national title game. And like I said, I think this is going to be the closest matchup Duke has had all year. Just because if people don't realize that Florida has 3 athletic young freshmen on their team and they're 7 foot. So that's going to be a tough game. I think it's going to come down to the final minute. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I'm going to say the Gators are going to win in coming down the stretch. I think their players are going to be not a lot more experienced, but I think they got a lot more agile athleticism. It's just tough. I mean, the teams are very eerie similar in their games. So I think Florida and Duke will. I think Florida, the Gators, and like I said, I think Tina will be very upset to see the Gators hoisting a national title game in her Seminoles.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I had to ask you about a particular player. He's not in
Yeah.
the tournament, but I remember me and you having a conversation about playing 2K and playing out like players' careers and putting them in the draft. Okay, so your boy Mikey Williams is transferring again. So Memphis never actually went there, got in some trouble. Then he went to UCF. Now he's back in the transfer portal. Where do you think Mikey's going to end up at?
Oh Jesus. Trying to think of like a school that he might fly like kind of under the radar with, but still maybe I don't want to say star, but he'd get a lot of meaningful minutes with. I don't think. See, the thing is like with the fact that they're losing a lot of people off the bat, if he was going to a big program, I would say Kansas, but I don't think Bill Self's going to want to deal with that. So I could see him going to like a VCU or like a.
What has he done though? Like, why is everyone so hype? Has he done anything?
Because he was this huge.
I know he was a number 1 pick, number 1 recruit, but like,
yeah,
has he done anything in college? Did he do anything with UCF? Because anytime I looked, he was averaging 6.
He's barely played.
Yeah,
it was just funny because me and Mike had talked about him before.
Oh, last week.
But no, just in general, me and Mike have had conversations about him off the show a few times about 2K and going to draft him. And me and Mike are very avid franchise builders who go 20 years building a franchise. That being said, though, with Mikey, he just keeps transferring, and nothing really happens when you transfer. You get the transfer, you just walk right to the next team, and everybody's like, "All right, cool, that's what's up." John, do you feel that there should be harsher rules for the transfer portal? Like, should there be some type of penalty? Should it still be unlimited? How would you handle that?
So I think what it looks like, right? College basketball has been the biggest suffering sport when it comes to transfer portal. I think having 1,500 kids already in the portal, already in college Division I basketball, is wild. It's a refect, right? Like you can transfer as many times as you want, I believe, and without any penalties. And personally, I think there should be some harsher penalties. I think you should, if you're going to transfer once, great, but there should be contract bases based on your NIL money. So if you're making a certain amount plus, right, and you transfer for a third time, you pay your way through that school. You can afford it. You're making that money anyways. Go ahead and pay. Give that scholarship to someone that is deserving, like a walk-on or something that has to pay his way anyways. Do something.
What if the school doesn't mind paying? What if the school doesn't mind giving the scholarship or paying for the scholarship?
They don't give a mind. They don't mind, right? That's where I'm saying.
Let me finish the thought real quick. So I want you to rebuttal it. Let me finish the thought real quick. What I'm saying is, remember you have boosters. Who's to say a booster doesn't walk in and say, "Okay, here's the money. You pay for your school." That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean that's the world we're in.
So I'm saying like in your penalty case, it's not really a penalty if I say pay out of pocket, and then Mr. Joe Smith, who's the biggest Michigan Wolverine fan, walks in and says, "Oh, don't worry, here it goes. Wire you Cash App. Go ahead, pay the tuition," and you really can't penalize in that way.
Yeah, and that's the tough part around nowadays. There's got to be some sort of stipulation. So even if the booster does that, that's fine by me. That's their money going for there. But if a scholarship goes to a walk-on player, they're giving it back, saying, "Hey, like we always see, like a walk-on player get a scholarship. It's always a good, warm, fuzzy feeling. It's always nice to see. It's like giving back to the program to someone who's working their ass off in practice.
I mean, in theory, but who's to say it has to be a walk-on? Because now I may just
it doesn't have to be a walk-on. I'm just saying.
I may take that and give it to another guy in transfer portal. So all at that point it does is actually have an extra scholarship. I basically got that guy who's considered now a walk-on, who's a top 5-star prospect. Now I take one of my extra scholarships and give it to another guy. So actually, there's ways to manipulate that.
There's no perfect solution in this whole entire thing. At the end of the day, there's never going to be. There's always going to be an argument, right? Like you're always going to have something to come back at me about something. Like, and I've already thought about that one time over. Like I've already thought about that type of stuff. I've already thought about all that. So there's no real. There's no strict really punishment you can give these kids for transferring so much, other than you have to sit out, right? If you're going to go for a third year. And you're in, like, let's just say you transfer, right? It's just a decision you make. It's a consequence you make. You have to sit out. You want to transfer again?
I think the sit out is the only way to actually solve it.
That's the only solution.
An issue. I don't think you can take a scholarship, because really what you just said there, my eyes got big and thought about. I was like, shit, I would love that, because now I got extra scholarship to give to another player. I got this 5-star prospect going to treat like a walk-on.
And then the walk-ons are eliminated.
And then the walk-ons eliminated, right? So you know how these people are going to manipulate quick. I mean, what do we always say? What does the SEC say? If you're not cheating, you're not trying. Trust and believe. They're going to have people down there manipulating the hell out of that third transfer. So I think the only way to really do it is maybe you give them the first time you get for free, the second time you got to sit a year. And maybe the only clause you have to get out and do a double transfer out penalty would be if your coach left.
And the only other way you can do this is if you want to pay these guys like professional athletes, you sign them a contract like professional athletes. Hey, you're here, committed. The only way out is to go to the NBA. If you decide to come back to the NBA from the NBA combine, you have to come back. That's a contract, right? We're paying you to come here. We're paying you so much money. That's just like you would do with in professional sports. Not really, because they don't really test free agency waters like that. But that would be the only other solution to do, is to sign them to contracts. If you're willing to pay them, let's just say $2 or $3 million a year, hey, you're coming back. We're paying you. This is a transaction, right? This ain't. We don't care about this building with the library in it. We don't care about all that shit. You sign the contract. You're here for 2 years. You want to go test the waters? Go right ahead. But when you come back, you have to come back to the school. That would be my only other thought of a solution, is to sign them to a contract like a professional athlete.
Mike, what are your thoughts on the whole transfer? If there's a different way to handle the transfer portal?
Yeah, no, I mean, those are the only two options. You either have to go back to what it used to be, which is that you get to transfer once, barring your coach leaving, and other than that, you have to sit out a year. Or you do what is, I think, where we stand now, the more sensible option, or the more fluid option based on what where we stand at, which is these are professional athletes. They sign contracts. And yes, it means that you're most likely never going to get a kid, at least not, especially the top ones, that are going to do the 4-year. They'll do a 2-year, they'll do a 1-year, all those types of things. Whether they're planning on going to the NBA or not.
2-year, 1
contract.
Oh.
Contract.
Well, I'm saying
whether they're contract be whatever you want it to be. You can make
right.
it 1-year contract or 2 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying on the player side of it, what player?
1 year. He didn't elaborate.
Well, okay, yeah, that's the contract. So yeah. You.
No, yeah, that's what I'm saying. On the player side, gotcha. What especially top player is going to sign a 4-year contract? No, they'll sign a 1 or 2-year, even if they're not planning on going to the NBA, or they don't know if they're going to go to the NBA after 2 years. At least gives them the out. And they'll obviously hire agent. They'll hire agents, and the agents are going to tell them you have to give yourself an out to make sure that
NBA players start taking shorter deals because they wanted to get out of contracts and not be trapped to a team.
Right. And have a cap.
We got a certain grandfather who wants to chime in about some of his thoughts about NIL.
I think the problem is frequency. I think you need to dial down on how many times it can happen. So, back in the day, one transfer was probably all you get because you would lose a year of eligibility, or you'd not really get your roster spot right away unless, they were losing that piece. So if you slow down the frequency, I think we can have a little more continuity. So you're not kind of dealing with, John, what was the number? Was it something ridiculous? Like
1,500.
like 1,700, 1,500. I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't just here's why they said
that many Division I teams.
But they're setting up for failure, right? Like Indiana has nobody left on their roster.
Neither does what's his face? What's the other school? Oh fuck. Connecticut. Connecticut has half the roster gone.
That's crazy. So like to me, it's like when you bring young men in on a team, right? You want sports to teach them strong life lessons. This is doing the opposite. This is telling young men, I don't like it, I'm leaving. How's that setting you up for the real world? How's that setting you up for a job? How's that setting you up to handle management not being what you want, or your teammates not being the teammates that you want to be around? It's not. It's setting you up for failure. So if you say you get one transfer, and the second time, if you choose to transfer, I had a discussion on, maybe it was me and Mikey, you pay your way through school. Now, the problem is they'll just be like, well, F that. I'm just going to the school that's going to give me something. But guess what? If there's no other option the second time you transfer, you have to pay your way. Guess who's not transferring a second time? Nobody, because nobody wants to give up the dough if you're getting paid to play somewhere.
Well, so my thing to John, you and John was discussing,
yeah.
He said, what's to stop a booster from just wiring you the money?
Yeah.
To go pay for school.
Well, you know that's what's going to happen, right? You know that's sneaking on the table. You know that's sneaking on the table. But at least if you limited it to 2 transfers, then at that point, you don't have players playing for 4 schools in 4 years, which to me is absolutely ridiculous. Like, as a coach, I wouldn't want that player. I don't care how good they are. I don't want you. You clearly don't want to be around a team long enough to understand what our culture is and understand what our mission is, unless you're just, hey, we're just going to do whatever to build a team every year to try and win a title. And if that's what college basketball is coming down to, then I don't know if I'm going to be as big of a fan anymore 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Well, to a counterpoint what Trey said earlier about, the boosters coming in, is if you have an entire roster league like Indiana, is the boosters going to pay for an entire roster to come in and basically
depends on the program. Depending on the program, yes.
Yeah.
We've seen this. We know they're a crazy program. But maybe not at USF or something, but trust and believe Kentucky, y'all got enough boosters that are going to do it. You don't think Ashley Judd can go in that wallet? She's going to go in that wallet because they want to win.
I like that new shirt you got there, buddy. Let's see it.
Yeah. I'm talking to you, Jay.
Yeah. The new shirt.
Nothing easy.
Tournament
except
shirt.
Except for getting past the Elite Eight.
Yeah, we're leaving the bottom part out. It's nothing easy.
Well, it wasn't easy.
It wasn't easy. You're right. That's right there.
Nothing easy against those damn volunteers.
John, should there be some sort of a salary cap then for NIL?
100%. Yeah, I think not on the NIL. I mean, I guess you could say there should be salary caps for the teams, right? So teams should be able to have to disperse because now the teams are paying, right? Like now it's legal, right? It's just like with everything else, like they were being paid before. Now it's just legal. Now you actually are handing them the money in the broad daylight versus going in the basement behind 3 doors and then saying, "Here you go," right?
In a brown paper bag.
Now it's legal for them to do so. But I think schools should have a salary cap, right? I think Division I sports should. At the end of the day, I'll be very honest with you. It's not going to solve anything. Nothing's going to solve any of these issues. College basketball, and Jay and I were talking about this, has not been the same since NIL. Hey, P. has started, has become a thing. Oh, there goes Trey. Trey! Ah! Oh, God!
He fell into the transfer portal. The transfer portal opened up.
Trey transferred.
Trey, don't go. Don't go, Trey. Don't let it suck you
That's
in.
the quickest transfer
Stay
ever.
with us. Trey trying to
He
jump
didn't
in
even announce he was in the portal. He just went.
Trey just went to the portal.
Yeah, sometimes you have the portal.
No, I just think I honestly think it's going to be
trying to get Trey on their roster. Seems like he's jumping into the portal.
I just think honestly, like when it comes down to it, like there has to be some sort of salary cap, but it's not going to solve it, right? It'll only mitigate it for a little bit. College basketball, and Jamie and I talked about, I was about to say, is it has not been the same since it started. We thought it'd be better, the transfer portal, like being more open, but it's actually kind of ruined college basketball because now you can never like be hyped about a guy too long because you're just like, oh, he's gone. Like when Donnie Freeman and JJ Starling decided to come back, I was like, holy fuck, what? Like they're coming back for Syracuse? And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I thought one was going to the league, one was transferring, right? So the salary cap would be nice because it would give an even playing field for some schools, but like you said, Trey, a small town school is, unfortunately, like Bonaventure, is not going to be able to keep up with Kentucky or Syracuse or UNC in money wise, right? I know they got Woj now, but they're not going to be able to, affordability wise, they don't have the boosters to, or maybe they do. I don't know, but I think those small town schools are going to suffer. We're not going to see Cinderellas anymore. We're going to see 4-1s like we are right now. Dominate.
I know. One second, Trey. I know I'm being very utopian here because I know this has not been happening for a long time, and a lot of coaches don't care about this. But at the end of the day, you are an academic institution with incredible sporting facilities.
No,
it's gone ass backwards for a long time, right? And there's no more like we have to try and make sure that these young men are part of our graduate like goals because they don't have those anymore. Like once again, are you setting these young men up for success? And that question has been just thrown into the trash because it's all about win something for our school so we look great for the next transfer portal.
Well, it's a crazy stat.
So do we need a cap though, Jay?
Oh, sorry.
Does it need a cap? Absolutely it needs a cap. You can't have it be some semblance of a professional sport and say, well, whatever, we're just going to let the boosters say, I don't care how much I have to put out. This kid's going to sell wherever we're playing. This is our guy. He's bringing us another national championship that's worth X amount. Yes, they get to look at it as dollars and cents because they're huge businessmen. And the problem with doing the cap is some boosters will be like, F that. I'm the most powerful person in Alabama. Nobody could tell me what to do. I'm going to give that player what I want anyway. So even though it's like, oh, well, our star freaking point guard's only making $500,000, the booster's going to make sure he has another $10 million in his pocket. That's why they chose Alabama. So even if they put a cap on it, the money that's already being passed under the table is going to go back to that as well as legal money being passed over. It's just going to become a complete shit show. So I don't even know if that solves the problem or makes it worse.
I mean, look at Trey's Bucks. They bought their way to a championship. So, I mean.
Yeah, that's absolutely exactly what we did. Yeah,
$13 million roster.
Yeah, meanwhile, the team that made it on honest hard work and determination and definitely didn't go get Riley Leonard from the transfer portal.
Yeah, honest hard work, but not $87 million NBC's paid.
Our entire defense that all transferred to Ohio State that somehow started as freshmen except for 2.
They started this year.
Yeah,
no chemistry.
Listen, because none of those guys were at Ohio State the year before. We just paid. If anything, like I told you all the time, we were going to be the last team to not go win in the transfer portal because we didn't go to the portal.
Yeah.
Mike, do we need a cap?
The good, honest, hard-working Catholic boys of Notre Dame. Yeah, no, we need a cap. Like I said, if it's going to be, and we've all said it, if it's going to be treated any way like a professional sport, then you need to have budgets like a professional sport.
So what's the Yankees budget?
Baseball is. I've said before that
baseball is its own animal. We know that.
Baseball is its own animal.
Well,
yeah, they'll never do that.
Fun fact: first time that the average baseball salary has now hit $5 million. So, but then we know that's because of exorbitant contracts pushing it up. It's not really everybody's getting like more money across the board.
But is that including minors too? Right?
No, that's MLB.
Right?
It's like across the board.
No,
like,
it's like a
minor leagues. They get paid. They have to pay to play. Actually,
they pay hot dogs and free.
They legitimately get peanuts.
Yeah,
and Cracker Jacks. But yeah, there needs to be a cap because that at least will make it as, like I said, a level of playing field as you can get. It's still going to get out of hand, and there's still going to be your situations where, the big programs are going to be able to pay more just because they'll be able to get to the cap. Even if you set a flat cap for everybody with luxury tax penalties and things like that, there are certain schools that are just going to go into the luxury tax, like your Yankees, your Dodgers, your Red Sox, your Cubs, Mets, all that. Like, they're not going to care. There's certain programs and schools that aren't going to care. What has stood out to me is with this whole transfer portal thing. Have you guys heard about Michi Johnson?
Yeah, he's from around the corner from me. He literally lives next to.
Well, not anymore.
Well, he will be. He'll be back.
He was. Eventually. Yeah, he went to.
He went to South Carolina. Then
South Carolina. Then went to Ohio. No, hold on. I want to get the specifics. So he went to Ohio State. He went to Ohio State first.
Yeah, then South Carolina.
Then South Carolina.
Yeah.
Then Ohio State, and now South Carolina again.
Just a crotch shot.
Yeah, that's.
Thanks, Jay.
No, I knew all about that guy because he actually literally grew up around the corner from me. His dad or uncle used to be a substitute teacher at our school. He used to coach their basketball team.
Tell him to make up his damn mind.
Well, he actually has a cousin that's coming up behind him that's going to be a top prospect pretty soon.
He lives his summers in Ohio State. He lives his winters in
South Carolina.
South Carolina.
So leave that man alone.
So Trey, are you about this cap, or you think it's a waste of time?
No, I don't like the cap in any sport in general. I've always been against the cap in any sport because, to me, that makes it a max on what your worth is. Anybody in this group right now, if we feel like we're worth more at the job, we can go make more money or tell the company, give me more else and go on. I don't like the cap in the NBA. I don't like it in the NFL. I don't like it in MLB. I don't like it in college. This is America. This is a place where we are supposed to be able to capitalize. We are capitalists. This ain't no socialist shit where we get to go in there and tell people what they can and can't make. So if I feel like I want to pay motherfucking Joe Burrow at LSU $80 million, the goddamn it, Joe Burrow is worth $80 million. LeBron James was worth more to the city of Cleveland than the fucking salary cap fucking dictated, whether it was the businesses, whether it was this. So no. And in the meanwhile, I got two Yankees fans here advocating for a cap when y'all fucking bought 14 of the fucking 25, 26 championships or the fuck because it wasn't a cap. Imagine they put a cap in with the damn Yankees championship banner.
They did have a cap.
Yeah, that's the fucking cap they had. Captain Jeter.
A lot of them looked like this.
Now they can pay Captain Judge as much as they need to. That's the damn cap. So for me, no, I'm good on the whole cap shit. Let people make what they need to make. If somebody's willing to pay you that, then that's what your fucking value is worth to me. Speaking of that, though, the other reason I don't want to put a cap on folks is because we have greedy-ass owners, we got greedy-ass boosters, so why are we trying to cap the damn athletes? Meanwhile, I'm looking at the NFL, and I watch these ticket prices go up, and I'm going to go round table and have y'all guess really quickly. What NFL team, because they start releasing ticket prices, what NFL team this year is going to have the highest average ticket price with a nice figure of $254 on average to go to games? Mike, what team is that?
So immediately my mind goes to Dallas, but I feel like it's not Dallas. Raiders.
You're going Raiders. Jay.
I want to say Raiders too, but because Mikey said Raiders, I'll go with Rams/Chargers.
Rams/Chargers. John.
The Browns.
The Browns. Okay, so the Raiders was close. I think they were in the top 5. The Browns are somewhere, I think, in the middle. They'll go up soon because they're about to build a new stadium. The team that has the most expensive ticket at $254 on average is the Detroit Lions.
Wow.
No.
This is no offense to Detroit. I love Detroit. I spent a lot of time up there. This is a city that has been trying to rebuild itself, trying to get back on its feet. It's a lot of hardworking people. And for y'all to go out there and tax these folks an average of $254 is fucking ridiculous. Because the owners are greedy, and it doesn't make any sense to me. So that's part of why I'm like, no, tax for what? Fucking pay I'm going to say Brown more money instead of trying to keep all the same pocket and trying to charge the good folks in Detroit $254 on average. That's fucking ridiculous.
Well, not to mention, they're going to charge them $254, and then you're going to spend the same amount in food, drinks, and potentially souvenirs when you go in there, because everything is like
and the park
$400.
Hopefully, they could take that to the Phoenix owner and model it a little bit different. If your ticket's that exorbitant, maybe they can offer a cheap, bear and or something.
At all, in my opinion. Like when I look at NFL tickets, because when you buy them off Ticketmaster when they first come out, I'm sure that's what they arranged. But they resale for, especially in Detroit because they're good. They're going to be way more.
Yeah, they're good. They're going to resell for more.
They're going to resell for more.
What team do you think had the lowest ticket?
The lowest?
It was $43, by the way, on average.
Jags.
Mike?
No. $43. That's got to be...
Come on, Jeopardy music. This is a step squad.
No, I know.
Just say a team.
Yeah, just pick a team.
Bro, it's not freaking Stump the Squad. Say a team.
Right,
I just did.
Who?
John, who you got?
I said Broncos.
Cardinals.
Open your ears.
Cardinals. It is actually the New Orleans Saints to tell you how bad the situation is down there. They don't have any hope because they are whopping at 43. It's a $200 difference between them and the Lions' average tickets this year. Back to college basketball, though, where we were at. Mike, there was something you were mentioning about coaches, and if you could kind of explain what you were talking about, coaches and in-game interviews.
Yeah, so essentially one of the new things that they seemingly have started to do is I think it's in the tunnel pregame. They're interviewing the coaches together, like the head coaches of the teams together, and they're asking them very like pointed questions about how they're planning on attack, like going at about the game on offense and defense, and dealing with the other coach's game plan while that coach is standing there. So I guess the question is like, how do we feel about that, and is that even like? I mean, I guess I'll start with that's kind of dumb. And if I was a coach, I wouldn't want to do it, and I
Do
would
what?
take whatever penalty, do the interview. I'm not gonna. I don't want to talk about my game plan with the coach that I'm trying to game plan against standing right next to me.
Yeah.
So I would take any
I don't feel
punishment.
bad for the coaches.
I'm not saying I feel bad. I'm saying if I was a coach, I wouldn't want to do it.
Look at fucking what's his face? Who just left? Buzz Williams. He just left a good Texas A&M program and went to Maryland.
Yeah, that I don't get.
Like, I don't feel bad for coaches.
You must have home ties to Maryland.
You get paid an exorbitant amount of money for your assistants to do your job for you, pretty much. So go ahead and interview before the game.
I mean, for me, honestly, I've never been a big person on. The only time I really want to hear from the coach is before and after the game. I don't need to hear from him during the game. I'm talking before, like a day before. I want to hear after, so we can now put you to the fire. Why didn't you yank this player out of the game? Why did you make this call? And we can actually be candidly honest. I don't like the on the field interview in the NFL. I don't care about the in between quarters in the NBA. The person to me, because you don't get shit from that. You want to get some shit is when the game is and you have to respond to why in the fuck did you not call timeout here? Why did you leave this guy in here with 5 fouls? These type of things. So for me, I don't want to hear from them at all until after the game. Then you got some fucking explaining to do, and that's where we got to look at our media members and say, okay, now you get to go drill these guys and figure out why they didn't make the right move. Jay, how do you feel about this?
I'm fine with the pre-game, but do it on opposite sides of the court, how it should be. I mean, talk to one coach and ask him about how you think you're going to beat this team, and then go to the other coach and say, hey, you're the favorite. How do you think you're going to hold off whoever you're playing? And keep it the way it freaking was. I don't understand why they're trying to create this kumbaya in the most highly competitive environments in sport instead of just leaving it as it is. Frenemies for 60 minutes, 2 hours, whatever it is, shake hands at the end of the game. Let's just keep it that way so it's more competitive from the onset instead of like, guys, let's come together and be awesome together so you can just show your camaraderie and your friendship prior to the game. No, you're competing for the same thing. Both of you guys want it just as bad. Plus, no coach wants to be a part of it anyway. So the authenticity in the interviews most of the time is very blunt. Can we get this on with? I need to get on the court with my team or whatever it is. And, you know, it is entertaining with the right coaches because they do a really good job at some of them, at least, at being very candid, right? Like Hurley being one of them, says what he has to say. Calipari kind of goes off on tangents all the time, but I feel they just need to do away with that.
I mean, you look at somebody like a Popovich, he just wouldn't have fucking did. You know what I mean? You saw him, he was asking, they tried to do this in the NBA. Remember, he's
only one guy he did. His guy.
Yeah, right. The one time, right, when Sager was about to pass, one time I thought, okay, I'm actually gonna do this night. So I don't give so much out of it.
I agree with you though, Jay, on that. Like, sports are soft nowadays. Everyone's buddy. I'm like, nah, that's why I like Ant Edwards. He's like, I don't give a fuck about you. I don't give a fuck about you. Like, I like that type of attitude because I play a sport. I'm gonna fuck you, my friend. I remember
both trying to win.
I remember I played a kid in hockey when I was playing travel league, and one of my friends was on the team. I fucking fought him. I punched him in the fucking face. Like, like when we went on the ice, we not friends. I don't care. Not everyone wants to be friends, dap each other up. Nah, man, we playing a game. We playing a competitive game right now. No, I'm tired of all the bullshit. Let it be. Let's have enemies out there. Let's have some rivals. Like, I liked seeing what Memphis did to Steph last night. Unfortunately, I didn't like what Memphis. I'm sure the Memphis.
The result wasn't too good.
the rebuttal by Steph was not too good. Yeah. But like, I like that. Like, get in his head. Try to get in his head. Fuck with him. Like, but that's the wrong guy to fuck with.
Yeah. More like, you know what? Coach ain't taking no soft shit. Dawn Staley. Got to shout out Dawn Staley and the women.
That's my girl right there. Go Birds.
Got to shout her out. Jay, is South Carolina Dynasty?
Absolutely. I mean, there's so much of a dynasty now that they have created a culture in South Carolina high school basketball amongst girls where it's their dream to play for South Carolina. That's how you know you're doing an excellent job of turning your state around into we make these young girls dream about staying in state and keeping this culture, keeping this winning culture in state. You can't do any better than that. But I mean, look in this year alone on the roster, right? Here's why it's awesome. Joyce Edwards, freshman, averaging the most for the team. Malaysia Faweli, who last year was a freshman, doing her thing to carry the team. And Chloe Kitts, Florida girl, big up Florida basketball players. Amazing player, big center. I mean, she can get any recruit she wants. You know, Jai Wilson was there, right? She has brought in top recruits year after year. If we're looking at what their track record has been since 2015, Final Four in 2015, Final Four in 2017, Final Four in 2021, Final Four in 2022, 23, 24, won the national championship twice, has a chance to win it this year. I mean, the numbers don't lie. On top of that, for how classy Staley is as not just a ball player, meaning that she was classy as a ball player, she's even more classy as a coach. And she right now is kind of taking the reins from Gene, right? Gino kind of set the tone. I don't think anybody could have that kind of success ever again. But Gino set the tone, and Don's like, all right, give me the torch. I'm going to take it from here. The fun part is we might get to see them play against each other in a national championship. And I can't wait for that matchup if it happens.
Who you got winning, Natty, for women's?
I spoke highly of UCLA. They looked pretty vulnerable in the last game. So, that's hard, man. Paige looks hungry right now. I don't know if I can make a choice right now. You know what? F it. South Carolina to repeat.
Lock it in. John, is this a dynasty?
Yeah, I mean, looking at my girl Dawn Staley, I mean, go Birds, right? Philadelphia born, Eagles fan. Got to throw that out there.
We got it. She roots for the Eagles.
She's a Birds fan. Birds fan right there. That made South Carolina.
South Carolina dynasty. Are you hard of hearing? Did you not listen in school? I know your teacher probably used to always.
No, I didn't listen to school. That's why it took me 7 years to graduate, motherfucker. Did I listen in school? I graduated when Mike's kids graduated. What do you mean?
I asked John what 2 + 2, and he started to tell me about animals.
74.
Birds.
Go Birds. 2 + 2 equals Super Bowl victories. What? I think they're a dynasty. They started back in like 2013, 2014. They started really getting their legs, really pretty much building the program there for Dawn. And, I just like the culture that she builds there. Look at all the WNBA stars. Look at everyone there. At the end of the day, that team is kind of taking over what Gino has built. And I think, personally, I think they're going to catch kind of like what he built. I mean, obviously he built it over a 20-year span, but they're just starting out, right? So I think they are a dynasty. She's a great coach. She's a good ambassador for the game of women's basketball because she just wants everyone to win, right? She wants those competitive games. She wants those, like last year she was like, I don't know why everyone's talking shit about Caitlin Clark. That's, she's great for college basketball. So she wasn't really talking shit. She was kind of being a great ambassador for the game. So, yeah, she's definitely South Carolina is definitely a dynasty, and that's my favorite women's college basketball team. Oh, Gamecocks.
So that's who you're picking to win?
Yep.
Okay. Mike, are they a dynasty?
No. Because all of these reasons are great, and they're...
Because they haven't gone back-to-back?
Right.
Interesting.
I'm sorry. All of being an influence in your community and being a Birds fan and being a great coach and being a great person, building up the game is great, but that's not what a dynasty is. A dynasty is about winning. They've won twice, yes, and this year if they win again, sure. Maybe we could start to talk about dynasty there on their way to being a dynasty. They've got the best claim to being a current women's basketball dynasty as anybody in the country. That I will not deny. But I need to see more consistent winning. I'm not going to call back-to-back a dynasty or 2 and 3 years a dynasty because we've seen a lot of teams across sports do that, and we haven't called them dynasties. So, as a dynasty, I need to see how you do, not for 2 years or 3 years, but I need to see how you do for a decade. How many do you win in a decade? And can they do it? Yes. Have they done it yet? Not yet.
Are the Spurs a dynasty, Mike? The Popovich Spurs.
That's a good one.
Based on what you said in your qualifications, they will not be a dynasty.
No, they
went back to back.
Right.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted to see that's all because the player count for them is if you think the Spurs are a dynasty, do you think this team's a dynasty? Because they have been consistent even if it wasn't back to back. So for me, I do think they're a dynasty because when I look at 7 Final Fours since 2015, 3 championships since 2017, they're consistently always in the thick of things, and that's why I would put them as a dynasty. But I also consider Popovich and Spurs a dynasty. So, like I said, if you don't consider them a dynasty, then yeah, you can't say one is and one isn't because their profiles are actually very similar as far as what you want to call a dynasty. There was something though you did say you had in your mind, Mike, about championships and dynasties and whatnot.
Yes. So for this Final Four national championship time, I wanted to bring you guys a collection of different kind of fun facts. And the one at the end is one that I just heard that I still can't believe, and it's actually really funny. But first, so the ACC and Pac-12 are currently tied for the most, and this is on the men's side, most national championships with 15. But if you adjust it based on the current conference membership, the Big Ten actually has the most national championships with 23. The first non-basketball stadium to host a national championship game was the Astrodome in 1971, which was about 20 years into the actual official March Madness national championship. So the 1957 national championship game between UNC and Kansas is actually the only national championship game to reach multiple overtimes. It ended after 3 OTs. UNC won, of course. The 1966 tournament was actually not only special because of the story of Texas Western, which is from the movie Glory Road. I think we've all seen Glory Road. That Texas Western team is that national championship tournament. But it was also special because it was the only tournament between 1961 and 1982 that UCLA didn't play in. And it was the only tournament until 2021 to not include the Ivy League champion. In 1966, the Ivy League champion was Penn, and they actually refused to play because they disagreed with the NCAA's rule of forcing teams to certify that the team had a GPA of over 1.6. Finally, and this one's a side note. It doesn't have anything really to do with national championships. It's just amazing. The only head coach to ever have a losing record in the history of Kansas men's basketball is Dr. James Naismith, who might be better known as the inventor of basketball.
Jay, there's something I know is on your mind. Tell me, Olivia Miles. She decided she was gonna not go pro, even though she was the number 2 pick in the draft projected. She was going to transfer. Where is she going next year?
South Carolina.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yep. He wants to win.
And that's going to probably stack up Dynasty. He wants to win.
Exactly.
Go out there, probably going to create some other crazy trio or something of that sort. Trios, though. NBA. We have a lot of good trios in the NBA. John, who's the best trio in the NBA right now?
So I got confused on this, as I typically do. And
because he's too busy thinking about birds.
He thought trio meant what 3 birds are the best birds in the world?
Yeah,
Eagle,
eagle,
red eagle, gold eagle, bald eagle.
So I just did 3 players randomly. I didn't know you meant on the same team.
Same team.
Think about it. We'll come back to you. So think about it.
We'll come back to you.
Yeah.
I'll still Mike, what trio did you pick?
So my trio is interesting because it's kind of the third slot. This third slot goes to take your pick on the rest of the team. We're gonna go to Boston, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and take your pick of anyone else in that starting lineup.
Oh, you gotta pick somebody. Who's the third? Somebody's got to be the third best player on the team. You got to pick somebody.
Well, you know what? Fuck it. I'll answer your question with a question. Who the fuck is Tingus Pingus? We'll make it Kristaps the third one. But I think Tatum and Brown are such a good duo. They elevate the rest of the team, and they have they've put together such complementary pieces that you could put Porzingis there, you could put White there, you could put Holiday there. I would personally say, being that he's got the experience, honestly, I would just want to say who the fuck was Tingus Pingus.
Make sure.
But I'm being honest.
Okay.
It would probably be Jrue Holiday, just because he's got the experience in the NBA. He was a part of another trio to win a championship, and being with Giannis and Chris Middleton in Milwaukee. So I would probably say Holiday's their third one, and I still think that's the best trio in the NBA.
Oh, I got mine.
All right, who you got, John?
and you're gonna love this. I got your Los Angeles Lakers because
the answer's right in your face. The answer's right on screen.
I mean, at first I was thinking the Lakers, like Luka and LeBron were actually part of my trio. So, but then I forgot Austin Reeves is having a great year. Minus, Anthony Davis killing it in the beginning. But those three, ever since they got Luka, it's kind of changed the culture there in LA. And a lot of people were concerned because they thought, okay, this is a rebuild year. You including, because and I didn't even the way you were talking about when they first got Luka, I thought they were they were like last place, eliminated and everything. And then looking up, they're third in the West or fourth in the West right now. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy. Because to see Austin Reeves I think Luka coming onto the team really opened up the floor for Austin Reeves a lot more. It seemed like, and allowed him to be more free, right? And which is weird. You didn't think that was going to happen with two superstars like Luka and like LeBron. But it seems like LeBron has kind of been okay with kind of playing second fiddle to Luka, but also kind of looking like young LeBron, which is very scary because Luka's allowing that to happen because he's facilitating the ball and everything. So it's really cool to kind of see that team kind of form together and Austin Reeves being a key part of that roster. And I'm glad that they didn't trade him at the deadline because I think that would have been detrimental, like you said, at the deadline. If they would have traded Austin Reeves, I think that then it would have been a rebuild for sure.
Some people call him the reverse Oreo. That's what they're calling this combination.
Reverse Oreo.
No, I looked up for the show. I said, what are we calling this? People calling it the reverse
Oreo. In the middle.
Hey, Oreos are vegan, by the way.
Oreos are vegan.
Yeah,
by the way, just so you know,
Oreos are vegan.
That is the best trio right now. They're the first combination of a trio in the same game to have each of them to have 25, 5, and 5. That's just showing you everybody's in their bag. All three are rebounding. All three are shooting. All three can stretch the floor. All three can run the offense when needed. And once you put Luka out there, it did open up stuff for Reeves. LeBron also gets to play off ball, and people were wondering if he could play off ball. But now he actually gets to rest and pick his spots. And now he doesn't look like a 40-year-old because the guy's more rested. And spots he can play defense because now he gets to rest on offense, which makes him now, again, a guy who can get down the paint and defend the guy. He can go out like the other week. They were playing the Rockets, and he's out there defending Sengun. You don't get that type of LeBron if he has to go out here and basically run the offense the whole time. So for me, it's the Lakers trio right now. Those guys are cooking, and JJ has figured out a way to unlock them. A lot of times you have LeBron and Reeves are playing off ball. Luka has the ball. If you look in the corner, you'll see Reeves and LeBron setting a pick for each other so the other one gets open. So for me, it's those three are cooking. Jay, I know you're going to pick my Lakers. So go ahead. Tell us why.
I'm actually surprised Mikey didn't go at Van Vliet, Jalen Green, and Sengun since he has a love affair with Sengun. I thought he would go like way off the charts and go out with the Rockets or something. Absolutely not. I'm going with my Seattle Supersonics trio. Yeah, I said Seattle Supersonics. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, this year's MVP, Chet Holmgren, and Jalen Williams. Here's why. They are the most complete trio because they play the best together defensively. So you're getting a great trio on both ends of the floor. Chet stretches the floor better than any other person, big man of any trio that there is when you try and include a big man in the trio. And all three of them have different styles of basketball, which complements to where you're not necessarily saying this is two of the same player and they have to learn how to play off each other. They are doing that perfectly well right now. And the record doesn't lie. So right now, I'm a prisoner of the moment. It's the Seattle Supersonics trio. Yeah, OKC Thunder. I still see you. Don't worry about it.
And
okay.
if Jokic keep putting up points like the other night, SGA ain't winning that MVP.
And here's the thing: the pundits say it's still because they're championship caliber. The pundits right now would probably say it's still Jokic, Murray, even though Murray's kind of fell off what he was 2 years ago, and Aaron Gordon, because in the playoffs they have proven to be the best trio over the past maybe 3 years. We'll see this year.
Okay, let's take it to baseball diamond. We got to kick somebody off this diamond. This week, we're going to do another round of somebody's got to go. We're going to let Mike give us 4 baseball players. Another 4, there's somebody we got to kick out and say, all right, this guy is.
Yes. So, welcome to Somebody's Gotta Go. What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to take you back a little bit. I'm going to give you 4 historic MLB pitchers, and obviously you have to kick one of them out. So, your 4 choices are Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson,
Randy.
You know he has to do that. So
no, of course.
Part of his contract.
That's why we give a pause. Pedro Martinez
and
Roger Clemens.
Oh, that's so easy.
goodness, bro. Could you?
That's easy for me.
I know what you're thinking. Go ahead. Take it away. Go ahead.
Fuck Pedro.
Yeah, go ahead. You sound ready, John.
Pedro's gone. Yeah, fuck Pedro. Go. See ya. Bye. First bus out of here. No way. I still won't get over what he did to Don Zimmer. Threw that old man on the ground like that.
No, man, shouldn't have fucking been in there.
Don was going for lunch, bro. He wasn't going for him.
You know, you fucking see now, you're going the wrong way. Get your ass off the field. Get the field. Yeah, we all grown men.
He's in the clubhouse, Don. Where you going?
Nah, Pedro was my arch nemesis growing up. I hated him so much. I like him as a broadcaster now. Like, I like his analyst. But, like, I hated him so much. Like, throwing at guys. I mean, obviously, Roger Clemens did, too. All pitchers did. But, I don't know. Pedro was just, I mean, he hurt Derek Jeter. Hurt our captain. Bastard. And he was part of that 04 team. So, yeah, he's gone. See ya.
I think I'm taking Maddox out. Yeah, I'm taking out Maddox. Because to me, the other three had just, not that their stuff wasn't nasty, but the other three had a different type of nasty just shit with their pitches and arsenal pitches that they could put out there. I mean, Maddox, there was times where we did look at him as one of the top guys, but is there ever a point where we really looked at him as the best pitcher? I think the other three, there could be there are years we could say, okay, that was the best pitcher in baseball. And we definitively could say, okay, Randy Johnson had these 2 years. There's probably a couple years that we can look and say, I mean, Mike can look it up right now. I don't know how many Cy Youngs Maddox has in comparison to everybody else, but just going off the dome without looking, because I remember watching even in his own staff and saying, I don't know, I think Smoltz has nastier stuff, even in his own room. So for me, yeah, I'm taking out Maddox. How many
even statistically, even without the statistics, even if Mike says that Maddox is better than those three, I still would have taken Smoltz. Smoltz was their starters. Smoltz was their ace. Even if he had better stats and everything, you still looked at Smoltz as the guy, like on that roster. And you could shake your head and say no, and all the stats and everything.
They didn't. But the Atlanta Braves didn't. He pitched every game. Maddox pitched every game one.
Doesn't mean he's on.
How many Cy Youngs?
4 consecutive.
4. Okay.
And 18 Gold Gloves.
Just because you pitch game one doesn't mean you're the number one guy. Like, you're just playing number one. Like, a lot of times the number one.
No, John. No. In the World Series, unless for some reason you pitch the game, there's no turnaround time. Your game one guy is your guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Sometimes. I mean, I've seen other World Series where the number one guy doesn't go with number one. So, like, the way baseball is playing right now, you don't normally see that. I mean, like, the Yankees, the only thing, our number one is on the bench right now. So,
like 30 years ago, it was the norm. Like,
yeah, I mean, to a certain extent.
Potentially 3 games if you put him into playing game one. If you go to
yeah.
Jay, who you taking out?
Unfortunately, due to animal cruelty, I might have to remove. Hell no, I'm not removing my guy around. You must be out of your mind. I love Greg Maddox growing up as well, so I can't remove him. So I can't believe I have to choose between Pedro and Roger Clemens. Now, as a young kid, I did not like, and I learned to appreciate more as I grew up. I didn't like the cockiness maybe that like Clemens had in a sense. Like, I just didn't like the energy that he gave off, but his dominance could not be denied. So this is not on any like basis of stats, nothing like this. This is just me remembering as a kid players that I liked, and of that list you gave me, Clemens is at the bottom of those 4. So solely because of personal preference and nothing to do with absolute dominance of the game, I'm taking Roger off the list.
Mike, who getting kicked off the diamond or off the mound? In this case?
It is Pedro, only because his time on top was not nearly as long as any of the other 3, as far as being recognized as a top pitcher. I mean, he was a top pitcher in the league, but a lot more times you could have said that someone was better than Pedro. It was harder to say that someone was better than Maddox or better than Johnson or better than Clemens during their peaks. I mean, obviously Pedro's a Hall of Famer. There's no discredit to the fact that Pedro Martinez had a phenomenal career. But if you gave me like if you're saying give a guy the ball for Game 7, I'm picking any of the 3 of them over Pedro.
Hey Trey, you know what I got Pedro would say, right? Hey, look, these 2 guys are talking in panel here. These 2 guys, where they from? They're from the Boston Red Sox. That's how they say they don't like Pedro.
Yeah, this feel like a.
We also kicked his ass when he was in Philly.
That's a good impersonation of him, though.
It was actually pretty good.
A little bit more thicker, though. You need to be a little bit more thicker with that accent, where you can't understand him.
Yeah, definitely was a good impersonation. But about time for me to go ahead and finally get on the board here. Maybe stump somebody out, stump a couple people, get a couple answers. Maybe throw somebody around like Don Zimmerman. Yeah, I said it. I went there. But
Bastard.
Everybody's favorite time.
Too soon.
Stop.
About 20 years ago.
Jay's just gonna keep doing the intro.
Yeah, I'm just going to re-intro it again. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and ghouls, girls and goblins, and everybody in between, thank you guys for making it this point in the show. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment. We want you guys to play along. We want you guys to tell us we suck. We want to see if you guys are actually killers at sports trivia. So play along with us. Give yourself +2 if you get it right, -2 if you get it wrong. You score more than the top winner here, talk your shit. Talk shit back at some point. It's not going to happen all the time. So, Trey, since you're so desperate for points, maybe you go last tonight. Mikey, you look like you are ready to ask us a question so you could say, the squad. So go ahead.
Oh, fuck. So, talked about NBA trios. Tell me, guys, which NBA team had the first trio to all average 20-plus points per game in a season?
See.
Elian can stay.
Let me say the answers. A, the Washington Bullets. B, the Chicago Bulls. C, the Philadelphia Warriors. Or D, the St. Louis Hawks.
C.
Sticking with it.
St. Louis Hawks.
That seems like the right answer. I'm going to trust my gut and go with the Hawks as well.
All right. Today I have successfully stumped John. It is the St. Louis Hawks.
My teachers lied to me.
C's don't get stump the squad wins.
C's get degrees, bitch.
But not stump the squad wins.
But doesn't get that answer right.
But we'll pay you back. John, you can go next.
All right. So an estimated blink was expected for corporate losses in the 2025 March Madness tournament. That means like their losses like revenue wise. 100 billion, 16 billion, 17 billion, or $22 billion.
22.
Yeah, that's what I was already thinking. 22 billion.
Give me lucky number 17.
Well, I have successfully stumped Trey and Mike. It is $17 billion. That's crazy.
That's insane.
I mean, any of those amounts of money.
Gonna be the same,
But you got to think it is a month worth of pretty much corporate losses, and that's like 4 weeks of tournament play, which is just wild.
Yeah, you're putting up what, like 15 rooms per 68 teams, city by city, and that's not the staff as well. It's probably like 30 rooms per team. It's a lot. Food,
plus fans, plus everything, plus. It's like crazy.
Yeah.
All right, Jay, go ahead.
All right, so once again, Steph Curry put on an amazing show last night. His 27th time with 10 or more threes in a game. Absolutely phenomenal. Gentlemen, tell me which one of these players does not belong on the list of players that have had 10 3-pointers in a game. Is it A, Dante DiVincenzo, B, Zach LaVine, C, Donyell Marshall, or D, Fred VanVleet?
Zach LaVine.
Yeah, LaVine.
Final answer?
Yeah.
Gentlemen, I have successfully stumped the squad. The answer is Fred VanVleet. He is not. He's had 8 and 9, but not 10.
Gotcha. I knew Donyell Marshall was the fact he passed when he did it. I actually literally remember watching the Donyell Marshall game live.
There's some notable players on this list, which is crazy, that have only done it one time. And it's the old NBA. Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, Kyle Korver, J.R. Smith, Kyle Lowry, KD, Buddy Hield, Eric Gordon, PG, JJ Redick, and Kyrie Irving. One time.
So what's your scores?
Well, we have a Stump the Squad winner. Our winner this week is Grandpa Jay. Mike was -4. Mike always questions my math.
I'm not questioning
his look always questions my like. How is that possible?
No, I wasn't. How is that possible?
-4, -2. Grandpa J with 4.
It wasn't how is that possible.
So go ahead, trade A just for fun.
Okay, just for fun here.
Perfect today. Let's go, boys.
Which NBA player was traded the most times of the players on this list? We have Luke Rittenhauer, Marcus Camby, Dale Ellis, Trevor Ariza.
Marcus Camby.
Trevor Ariza.
I think it's Luke Rittenhauer.
Trevor Ariza.
I guess when Jay's having a good day, he has a good day.
Yeah.
Ariza was traded 11 times. It's the most times somebody's been traded in history.
He was traded like 5 times in 3 seasons. It just became a carousel. One season,
they just
3
kept
times.
getting passed off for salary dumps and shit. So 11 times. But today's Stump the Squad winner is Grandpa Jay. Nothing was easy.
Nothing easy except today's Stump the Squad, boy. Let's go.
I guess nothing was easy for him. But as usual, another great show. Definitely got some more content coming out with baseball. We'll be having some rotation episodes coming soon. We're going to start starting 5 back. NBA playoffs is coming. Definitely make sure to look forward to some of those. Got a couple special events coming. Make sure y'all stay locked in our social. Cinco Squad Pod 05 draft show. We're definitely going to be live for the draft like we normally do. And an announcement coming soon. We have a special live episode we're going to do with a certain other collaboration. But make sure y'all stay tuned because we already locking some things in with some other folks to do that. So definitely make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Like Jay just said earlier, we do talk back. So, yeah, get down there. Don't stay in the DMs. Keep it open.
I know I'm going to miss Final Four predictions. Anybody picking against Duke?
Mike.
I picked Duke. Mike picked.
Mike picked Houston and Auburn. No, Florida.
No, picked
Florida. Houston and Florida.
He's just sticking with his bracket.
No, I'm not at all. I had Auburn and Tennessee in the national championship.
Oh, that's right.
Jay, who's your champ?
Florida.
Before we go.
The Miracle. The Florida Gators end up.
We'll get you a nice shirt.
I'm good.
Okay. So you got the Florida Gators.
You and Tina can burn it together.
But make sure
Ritual fire.
Bonfire with the new shirt. Let's go.
Hey, I like fire, so I'm down for it. Oh, it's Masters Week next week, everyone. So everyone tune in.
Yeah, tune in. John will be dropping some more content. So definitely make sure y'all lock in with us. Cinco Squad